60 Minutes, Rewind.
Here's a question for you. What famous American flew 59 combat missions during World War II, 90 more during the Korean War, set an airspeed record from Los Angeles to New York, and had the right stuff to pilot a space capsule around the world? The answer, of course, is John Glenn. But after becoming the first American to orbit the Earth, Glenn never got a second chance to go up again, until now. After serving as a United States Senator from Ohio for 24 years, Glenn is finally getting that second chance. At the age of 77, when most pilots have hung up their wings, John Glenn is putting his back on and suiting up to become the oldest human being ever to fly in space.
Okay, you go. All right. It's almost like being reborn.
Was this something you never let go of, that you always had in the back of your mind, I want to do this again in some way, I'm going to make it happen?
Did I want to go again? Yes, I've held that hope for all these years, but did I ever, the older I got, did I ever think it would happen again? No, that was purely wishful thinking.
Until he realized that his age might work to his advantage. In 1996, Senator Glenn, who's an expert in geriatrics, offered himself to NASA as a guinea pig to see if there's a connection between some of the ailments that affect astronauts in space and the frailties that affect the elderly.
Hi, this is John Glenn.
But first, he had to convince his wife.
When I started talking more seriously about this and looking into it, she wasn't too keen on this, I'll put it that way. She didn't respond very favorably for a while.
And the rest of your family were?
Same way, pretty much. The more they learned about it, the more they became in favor of it.
But at the beginning, a little concerned?
Beginning a little cool to the whole idea, sure.
If they had continued to be cool, would you have dropped the idea?
Well, you're talking about a deep freeze. It wasn't that cold.
But NASA was cool to the idea, concerned that letting Glenn fly again would be seen as a multi-million-dollar PR stunt for the space agency and a joyride for Glenn. NASA required that Glenn pass a rigorous physical, but it still took him 2 years to convince them that his proposal had scientific value. By all accounts, he was relentless. Dan Goldin is the administrator of NASA.
Standing next to me is the most tenacious human being on the face of this planet.
What did he mean by that?
Well, I called a few times, let's see.
A few times. In fact, Goldin told us Glenn called NASA dozens of times. Everyone we've talked to told us that the reason this is happening is because you were determined to make it happen. That you were the driving force behind this, that you wanted to do it, and if you hadn't been so persistent, it wouldn't have happened. Is that a fair characterization?
Well, no, I don't think so. Did it occur only because I kept badgering people and there was no scientific merit to it? No, I'd deny that completely. I don't think anybody could ever go to space for the first time and not be moved by the whole thing. You look down and it's so beautiful you can't believe it. I developed, I think, a greater appreciation for all of creation just by the short flight I made back then. I'm sure I'll come back even more impressed with it this time.
What do you think it is about this flight that captured the public's imagination, that captured the public's attention? And are you surprised by it?
Surprised, yeah. A lot of this attention is centered on me, surprisingly. I didn't expect that. You're a pro at these things. I'll put you, let me interview you a minute. Why do you think it's happening?
You know, I think that people consider you a product of a simpler era.
Could be.
When there were clear good guys and bad guys, and that you were clearly a good guy. And I think people are pulling for you to do it again.
All right, good. Well, and we're going to do it again.